Howdy and welcome into Rules and Ramblings. I'm Maxen, he's Nomad.
Flingo, I hope you appreciate that. That took way too many attempts.
Today we're discussing a DM tactic for tabletop RPGs. So tabletop RPGs, or specifically D&D, started with being primarily dungeon crawls, but as the editions have passed and people have evolved a bit in terms of their tastes for this stuff, it's then more into telling a grand story, or for some DMs, giving a sandbox for your players to explore. One of the problems that can arise from this is players doing whatever comes to mind instead of following whatever large scale events you've planned out that you want to take place at some point in the campaign. So, a way that some DMs get around this is by railroading. They'll just not let their players do anything and be like, you must do my story events. And some people react rather poorly to that. And they're like, why don't you just go write a book then? So, the obvious thing that most people would say is no railroading. Why would you want to do that? But players could be kind of fickle. You don't really want to just let them roam about because then they won't do anything and they'll just kind of mess around. Sometimes they might follow the story, but sometimes you got to give them a little prod. So today we're talking about how to railroad properly. Do you want to pick up from this part, or am I just gonna keep going?
No, you do the entire thing. You do the entire thing.
This is my episode.
It's his episode, God damn it. So, kind of keeping in theme with the idea of good versus bad railroading, uh, some easy or common ways to alleviate or outright eliminate poor railroading is, for example, you can, and this is even like a unique advice to this. This is just advice to any DM or GM, is to plan your sessions light. At any level of D&D or any TTRPG, a level of improvisation is essential. You cannot have everything planned out where there's no possibility for players to go against you, because it's just impossible. There's quite literally infinite possibilities. It's just about how you're able to adapt to that.
Players will break what you plan. They will subvert you somehow. They always figure out how to do it, even if they don't know what you're trying to do. It just happens. It happens to the high end of DMs, such as like Matt Mercer or Brendan Lee Mulligan, and it happens super often to people who just play for fun.
Uh, you know, so then again, don't take that too far.
Don't compare yourself
Don't
to
take
those
it too
people.
far and let a player completely derail the campaign.
Yeah,
It's just understand that the way you want things to happen isn't going to be the way it happens, and get good at working around that. Another thing you should do is um not not use DMPCs. If you don't know, that means Dungeon Master Player Character. It effectively works the same way as an NPC, but it is a player character that the DM controls. A lot of DMs do this, and I don't think they realize it. The problem with the DMPC is it's very easy for the DM to give their PC um like all the goodies or make them inherently overpowered. You read a lot of horror stories of the party, always faces like immeasurable odds that they can't hope to win, but then at the last second they get saved by a Deus Ex Machina from the DMPC. Um you can, if you have a character like this, the best thing you can do is just turn them into an NPC who shows up sometimes, but you still want to be careful, because even though their impact in the story is diminished, you still don't want them to, you know, overshadow the party. Um,
you also don't want them to be a crutch for the party that they feel like they can lean on whenever. They should be a resource that the party can use at times or go to for help, but they should not be something that the party goes to every time or that the party gets shown up by whenever they're trying to do
yeah,
something
I
cool.
think
Because then they just feel like they're playing
yeah,
second
I think the
fiddle.
best way to do that is to have a NPC that is like powerful, like really strong, but in only one way. So like they don't overshadow the party because throughout the rest of whatever involves them, the party still has their times to shine. But it's just this one crucial thing you have the NPC for. Like I don't know, just spitballing. Theoretically, you could have an NPC who specializes in teleportation magic. So you could have a scenario where the party has to escort the NPC and protect them while they set up a teleportation circle or something.
Also, if you want to do the Deus Ex Machina thing, you can, just don't make a habit of it. You can do it like maybe once per campaign as like a way to introduce a super powerful NPC, or as like a shining moment for this NPC that the party's known for a while, as they like make a sacrifice play to save the party so the party can get stronger and defeat the foe. But you got to be careful how you use it. You can't just let them go up every time, and it can't be because they've keep fighting insurmountable threats or something. Like if the BBE shows up and you have a strong NPC on hand, it's not like they should just stand there and be like, "Oh, the party should deal with it." Let them help, but like don't do it to the point that the players feel like they're not able to do anything. Because like a Deus Ex Machina, if done correctly, can be cool, but just don't overuse it and don't push them on your party.
Yeah, and maybe one day, um, I guess the last way to deal with less than stellar railroading is to lay out a list of certain do's and don'ts in a session zero. And we've mentioned session zeros a few times now, and I feel like one of these days we should really do an episode. It's like our take on a session zero. But if you have a certain story where there are certain expectations for how players should act, and
You
you're
should tell them ahead of time.
right, instead of having to constantly like, no, you can't do that, or actually this
You can't
happens
do that because
instead.
of this or that. Yeah.
Because at least that way, if they have the expectation and they go against it, when you push back, they really only have themselves to blame. But that's only about dealing with bad railroading. There is a way to railroad effectively in a way that most DMs do. It's a little something that I like to call the art of false choices.
So the art of false choices is something most DMs use, even if they don't realize they're doing it, because maybe their PCs have just been wandering around for the past 3 sessions, or they keep like avoiding whatever hooks you put out for them because they just don't see them.
I think
Regardless of how
most.
obvious you think a hook to a quest is, your players still might miss it.
Yeah, I mean, I think GMs know what they're doing. They just don't think of it as railroading, even though that is essentially
Oh
what
yeah,
it is.
even though that's what it is. That's what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, the art of false choices is delicate in a means, because if you make it too obvious if it's what you're doing, then your players will maybe get a little mad at you.
Yeah, like if
So just do it correctly.
yeah, like I think a way of doing this bad, right, is the players are in a tavern and they see a hooded figure standing in the corner watching them, and they decide that they want to go clothes shopping. But then they're in the clothes shop and they're looking for
And
like,
the hooded figure is
and the
there.
hooded figure's there in the corner staring
Yeah.
at them.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't make it obvious.
Instead, yeah, instead you can, present to them a board of possible jobs or something, and maybe make one of them sound a little cooler, or give a little more detail, or just make, one of them sound like an actual job that you might want to take up, instead of the other ones that's like rescue a cat. Like you can have several different jobs, just be vague about what they actually are.
I think one
I did that
I think one
recently.
way you could do it is the party goes to like a guild or whatever, and they go to like the bounty board. But the problem is there's already a crowd there taking jobs wherever they can, and by the time they get there there's only one job left, and that's the one that starts the plots.
Yeah. Or you could do it as a call up to someone's backstory. I did this recently, or at least semi recently in terms of like my campaign. Um, they were looking for something else to go and do, and the I had like 3 jobs posted on the board, I'm pretty sure, and one of them specifically mentioned by name the swamps surrounding one of the party members' homes. So the party member was immediately like, "Oh, I know that place. That's where my character's from. We should take up this quest." And he presented it to the rest of the party because that's where I wanted them to go. But they didn't know that at the time. I was just like, "Hey, look, it's this. You have a thing that you can pick from. There's 3 jobs here. I listed other things they could have done, but they chose the one I would have preferred them to do because I put in a little plot hook." Or if they're really being insistent in not following whatever story you're trying to present, you could always just, say they're in a big city and they decided to just fuck off to some random town in the middle of nowhere. Move whatever event you wanted to happen, as long as it's not like too large scale, to that town. Move the hook.
Yeah, this is also pretty effective in sandbox games. Let's say that the party, like there's a your party's going down the road and there's like a left and right path. And the way you had written it out is if they take the left path, there's like this cave and the cave has some cool stuff in it, whatever. But they decided to go right instead. Just put the cave to the right.
Just move the
Just
cave.
move the cave.
Yeah,
You
if
know
you
where
want
things
to
are,
go in the
your
cave,
players
yeah.
don't.
If you don't have a solidified map or they're not in a place that they've been before, you can move shit whatever the fuck you want. They don't know what's in the area. They can't see it. It's all whatever you tell
And
them.
if you do have a map, if you really want to move stuff around,
Some of the ideas can be a little
just
fuzzy.
just say that the map wasn't made very well.
It was out of
It's
date.
out of date.
Yeah. There's a fucking library of excuses you can use for making little adjustments to your world, as long as it's not like set in stone and they've been in this area 100 times. You can't just pop stuff up there, but send them off to an area they haven't touched yet.
Mm,
And if they decide to choose a different path than what you want them to go down, you can just move something a little bit. What are they gonna know?
yeah, so we've mostly discussed ways of dealing with players going against what you want them to do in a way that they don't know that you're doing it. However, there are ways that you can railroad in sorry, there are ways you can railroad in a way that the not only do the players not know, but enhances the story or makes them think it makes them think they
You
have
missed out on
control they never
something.
had. Um, a way to do this, and I can't go into specifics because there's actually something in the campaign I'm running that if it comes up, I'm gonna implement this. But
Fucker.
the way it works is I don't have a term for this, but the way it works is you have something you want to happen no matter what. But you don't necessarily want it to just happen because you're worried that the players might feel cheated or that, well, what's the point? There's nothing I could have done. So what you do is whatever you want to happen, have the player roll for it. And no matter what they roll, have the same thing happen because now in their mind they might be sitting there thinking, "Oh man, if they rolled high, like damn, this I rolled high and this was bad. I can't imagine what happened if I rolled low." Or if they roll low, think, "Man, imagine what would have happened if I rolled high."
I think I've done that. I did that to you guys in the last session as well.
I have a very specific thing in mind where this is going to come into play.
It either has to do with my character or it has to do with that damn tower in the moon realm or whatever the fuck
It could
that was about.
happen with literally any of them. You're not special.
To be fair, yeah.
Like
I just want to think it's me because I want plot
you
progression.
don't
I don't
know
know much of anything about my
yeah, you
character
don't
and my
know
backstory. I don't know
what Douglas's
anything.
fucking character is gonna go through. You don't I listen, I got plans for John Steele, okay?
Especially since he's finally submitted some of the stuff that you asked him for.
I got plans, Arthur.
We're going to Tahiti,
A
Dutch.
completely unrelated note. When
Mangoes.
I was reading the backstory for John Steele, and did you notice how he pretty much just made Percival?
I mean, yeah, but I don't think he's watched
No, he
Critical
has
Role.
it. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, he accidentally copied the same idea.
But besides that, I that's about all the major points we wanted to hit. We could sit here for a
And
while,
just
just
bring up like ideas and
yeah, just listing examples and ideas.
yeah.
But as for like the meat and potatoes of the topic, it's about it. It's definitely a short episode. I'm actually kind of surprised at how short it actually ended up being. But hey, they can't all be an hour long.
Especially since the last one was supposed to be short, and then we ended up making it like 40 something minutes somehow.
True, the 30-minute episode becomes 40 minutes, so now the 30-minute episode becomes like 20. It's that easy. But before we head out, to anyone listening, we're curious to know if there's any specific tactics that you employ as far as subtly railroading players, or if you have had experiences of really bad railroading, we would also like to hear that in the comments. That's called engagements.
Also, if you have suggestions for what you'd like us to cover in the future or stuff you don't know about and you like, I wonder if these guys do, you can leave those too.
Yes, we have a backlog of episode ideas, including a series we're going to be working on.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Soon, right, Maxen? Right?
Yeah.
This fucking asshole is like, oh, we gotta do 10 episodes first, and then we can start it. Fuck this guy.
We can make it 8.
Oh, fuck you. Do it now, goddammit. Do it now. As soon as we finish recording, we will start
Are we
it.
gonna do the next episode right after this?
I am so beyond ready, dude.
You better keep this in.
I will keep it in.
Cool.
Fucking try me, bitch. But
Fucking try me, bitch.
so we have a backlog of episodes that we keep and then we add to avoid running out of ideas. But if there's any specific topics or ideas that you guys have like to hear about, we would love to hear, because we are nothing if not people pleasers.
Yeah, we'll talk about what you guys want us to talk about as long as it's within our realm of knowledge. If it's not, we can still maybe talk about it. We'll just have to take longer to research it.
But that's I don't even, what the fuck? I don't even know what you just said. Like, it just went in one ear at the other.
You do that a lot.
I do that a lot.
You're keeping that in too.
I don't know.
Show them that you're a dickhead,
Nah.
bitch.
Motherfucker. I am the editor. I will put myself in a good light.
I control this.
I will cut out all of my errors and I will keep in all of yours. I will be a perfect baby.
Once we get a following on a Discord server, I'm ratting you.
Real and true. So, for realsies this time, it'd be really cool if you haven't followed. If you did, big thumbs up from us if you do that.
Rate the podcast if you want.
Rate it. That would also be really cool. Anything to help us out. But I think that's all from me. If Maxen's got anything he'd like to add.
I already added 2 things.
What? What did you add?
The rating and the leaving, reinforcing the leaving of comments below.
And then you're like, oh, that stuff I talked about earlier that I was going to cut.
Fucker. Anyway, that's been us. We're going to go play a war game now.